Good morning, everybody. How are we doing on this Sunday morning? Sorry, I was eating breakfast and a little bit of my toast got in my throat. I'm gonna clear it with some coffee. Numbers. So we are back this morning with 4-9 Royal Commando. We are going to be doing an FTX today. So a little bit behind the scenes of what keeps an army unit going in terms of like our ability to play together and like do well as a community as a whole. So there will be a bit of chat and a bit of downtime, but we'll be doing a little bit of shooting too, which we all enjoy, which is always fun, hanging out with the bros. That and you guys distracting me also helps. I was a little extra sleepy this morning. That's why I got such a late start today. All right. Hopefully we don't crash like we did last night. That shucked. Hello there, Katana. Alright, I was a good little Arma player, and I got everything set up. Last night, alright. I'm going to turn down this chilled out groove here. And we are going to get back into it. Ba-doom. Oh, I better get TeamSpeak up. So as per usual,
Microphone
I'll be in
activated.
TeamSpeak, and if I don't react to things quickly, it's because I'm getting shot at. Al Basara Training Grounds by Medicus. Ooh. Ooh.
Channel switched. Error.
Alrighty. And infantry spawn. Oh, we're in the
And then
sandbox today.
What I'd want to see from you then is, you know, identifying direction of contact, smoking it out, and moving to a safe location so you can engage maybe from a flank. Yeah, I'm gonna try keep easy because again, I just want to see good communication and focus on
Alright.
pulling 360,
Using
calling
custom
everything
kit.
out, just full situational awareness. I might drop the odd civvy in, maybe just run past you guys, and then so just make sure that you got your wits about you, so you go, oh, yep, civvy south running, looks startled.
Overwolf is on. Damn it.
Windy.
Hello.
Wind Reaver, go ahead, drop your backpack. If you need anything from your backpack, just put it in your main rig. Or anywhere you've got
Okay.
space.
Give me a second. I gotta get rid of Overwolf. I swear this
Take your time. We're waiting.
Overwolf is the HPV of fucking applications. We all have it. We all
Hold
hate
on,
it.
stay still, Sheppy.
No, you're not taking my
Okay.
backpack.
I'm not taking your backpack.
Let me
You're not
see.
taking my rocket ammo either.
Anything I need?
Oh, is this a kit truck?
Yeah, so you're not gonna need. No, I was just trying to join your squad.
Oh.
The only thing is basically because it's only CQC, you will only really need ammo. But so you won't need like smoke grenades or anything. If you got flashbangs, keep them. Or use chem lights as flashbangs or whatever.
I do not have any flashbangs. I have a lot of smoke rounds.
I have
You won't
frags.
need. You won't
I
need
have a lot of
smoke.
frags.
Yeah, frags are fine. You won't need smoke.
I mean, for the 40mm
Oh.
variety.
Whatever you want to carry, like, but not having your backpack today will be nice and easy.
Okay, good to go. All right, got that. Got my
Just waiting on
emergency
Egg, who connected and then
investments.
disconnected. I guarantee Egg didn't install
No,
the new
you
fucking
might
mod.
have some. Yeah, no, you might have. Yeah, mod pack updates.
Yeah, I need to switch and
What
get some
updates?
flash.
There we are.
Sense, can someone tell me what I am missing? I didn't see any mod pack updates.
Weird.
He's only missing. I can send it to you, Dragon, if you can send it to him.
You have access to the 1-1 chat, right? Just put it in there.
Oh well. How are we doing today, gents? Sorry I'm so late.
That's
I was
fine. You're not late.
tired.
You're technically early, but we were just going to try and get started early because we don't have much time and there's a lot to cover.
Yay. Oh shit. I forgot my own rule.
Should we get started without him?
Yes.
The only thing I'm going to get you guys to do first is literally I'm going to get you to run this shoot house without any training first.
Beautiful.
This one?
Every time there's a shoe house, I feel like I need a freaking cup of EOTech for the CQB.
That's why I like having my little red dot on top of my
Yeah, that's what I have
Yeah.
on mine, but I feel like this EOTech would just be like.
yeah, text a little nicer.
This is your entrance, guys.
I want to I have like a second scope for my
Just run it-
in my
run it-
inventory just
run
in
it
case
as
if we
if
do
you're
go
gonna
to
run
the
it.
CQB
Right,
area
I'll say when
in
to go.
missions.
And then just do me a favour. When you get to the first corridor, you'll know what I mean. It's like a T section. Just go right for me. That's the way it's supposed to be run.
Okay.
Thank you. Right.
T section go right. Good to go.
And marksman.
Yep. Marksman, do you have your red dot on?
Yeah.
Good to go.
I'm not sure running my FSC was out, but okay.
All right.
Opening door.
Okay. Breach.
Doors on each side.
Shift down to 2 speed. T intersection. All right. Set to clear right door. Hit it.
Opening.
Clear left.
All clear.
Room clear. All right. Behind you, dragon.
One on me for breach. Alright,
Breach.
breaching.
Corner clear.
Nothing to see. Cutting. Nothing. Nothing
Good.
on either side.
Breach. Right side clear.
Left's clear.
Exiting.
Let's go.
Right.
Clear.
Holding corridor.
Supporting
Going
Shepherd.
right.
Right.
Or what's that?
Breaching.
Wait, give me one. Clear.
It's clear enough here. Continue on.
Right. Pushing up.
River Shep, this way.
Oh, right, this way.
Up.
We're going
Copy.
this way, going
Backing
this
up.
way, going this
Backing up.
Go in river.
Opening.
Set. Breaching.
Going.
Set.
Linking up. Friendlies.
2 doors.
Okay, copy. I guess I'm stick left side.
Keep some distance.
I
Copy.
move right, you move left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just give them some space to pull
moving.
back if necessary.
Copy.
Clear. No door.
Right. Push up, Shep.
Alright.
Yeah.
Breaching.
Clear prompt.
Moving.
Don't move.
Clear. Door behind. Door in corner. Behind.
Stack.
Yeah.
Please clear this first.
Oh, copy. With you.
Alright. Opening. Clear.
Clear.
Ready.
Go ahead.
Ready.
Opening.
Pine.
Moving.
Door.
Hallway left.
Same hallway. Holding
Same hallway. Good to go.
Ready.
Yeah. Yeah, ready.
Opening.
Clear.
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 Door.
Door.
Set.
Ready.
Opening.
Final one. Ready.
Ready.
Exit.
Uh,
User joined your
all out
channel.
index. Do me a favor,
Index.
just go back through it and close all the doors as you go back through. You don't have to like run it. You just have to run back through and close all the doors.
I got it.
All right.
still
You
somebody
got
else
that
up there.
side.
I was closing them as we backed out.
All right.
Better than I thought, but still pretty shit. to be honest.
Bruh.
So, definitely stuff to work on. I think Rafe died about 3 times, maybe 4. Not always a fault of his own. Wind Reaver died a couple of times. Shepherd died. Dragon died. I think Arle, I didn't see you the whole time, but I didn't see you die.
Wait,
you
how
all
did
died.
I die?
You were very far behind a bit, and then at some point you turned your back to the rear guard and then you got shot in the back.
Okay, that would have been through a closed door then, because I was closing doors as we went, so they'd have had to open a door, which I would have heard. So that's kind of why I was closing doors.
Okay. Well, we'll go through it anyway. We're gonna go through the boring stuff to start with, which is theory and room structure, and then we'll get into movement after. So, yeah. Okay. So first, does anyone know the three main principles of CQC and like their benefits? 3 words.
Yeah. Speed, surprise, violence of action.
Perfect. Right. Why do we need speed?
To maintain.
If we're fast, the enemy can't react to us. And we shoot them first. Pretty much. Why do we need surprise?
So that way we maintain the balance in our favor.
Yeah, basically. The enemy can't prepare themselves. If they're unprepared, then you have to jump on them. It's the same with anything. Violence of action? What do you think that means? That's overwhelming the enemy, right? So even if you're clearing a house for 4 men, you might have more enemies than you need to deal with. So you use your violence of action. You overwhelm the enemy with your surprise, with your violent speed. Stuff like flashbangs, right? Fucking frag grenades. Overwhelming force. Getting more guns in that room than the enemy have in that room. And more stuff to be violent with, right? So the enemy's overwhelmed and they can't outgun you. So those things, when you're going through a CQC clearance, are the first 3 things you need to think about. Speed, surprise, violence of action. Speed doesn't mean go as fast as you fucking can through the whole thing. Speed means go as fast as you can process information. Although there's an exception, but we'll go through that. The next thing is priority of work. So, although there's no targets, if we go into a room, right? The first thing we're looking for in this room, right, is what? Enemies to kill. The armed threats are our main concern when we're in this room. Second of all, if you're not dealing with an armed threat, is your buddy dealing with an armed threat? So let's say Shepard was in first and I was behind him. If he starts shooting someone, am I then gonna like turn away from him and like not focus on what he's shooting on?
No.
So that's second after armed threat. But then again, if you're dealing with your own armed threat, if you've got Rafe, if you stay in that corner, Dragon, you move over to the right. If we've got my right, your left. If we've got two armed threats in that room, my priority is the armed threat. But if he's not there, my priority is supporting Shepard, who's dealing with the guy on the left. After that, it's supporting your buddy. So if you're not actively protecting him, you're there on him, ready to protect him if you're not supporting him. And if you have nothing to do after that, you are looking for work. So you're looking for space to clear, you're looking for where to move next, stuff like that. Protecting the rear security. You're looking for stuff to do. You're never just standing with your thumb up your arse in the middle of a room waiting. You're preparing for the next move, you're securing the bad guys, you're doing something, you're looking for that work. Right, then again, let's say we're in this room, right? So Shepard, you've just entered this room, and that's exactly where you're stood the second you walk in that room. You've got Rafe here, who's armed threat. You've got Dragon, just put your gun away for me. And then you've got that space behind the door that you can't see.
Alright.
In this situation, and then Windreader, if you could just stand here actually with your gun out. In this situation, you have a priority of threats. So who do you think your biggest threat is right now? Out of the dead space, the unarmed guy, the 2 armed guys.
The 2 armed guys, obviously.
Followed by?
Well, assuming the unarmed guy is still unarmed, the dead space to my left.
Okay. So then, if you go and you kill the two guys that are armed, and then Dragon's in the corner, you go around this corner to clear this contact, and then Dragon Balls that are going to shoot you in the back of the head.
You're assuming I'm gonna be that stupid though, because what I'm gonna do is this. If you move out of that corner,
And then
I'm
Dragon
going-
shoots you in the side of the head. And then let's say you're focusing over here,
no,
and then
alright,
back over here.
Dragon,
And then...
pull your gun out.
So your priority of threat.
No, let's play this out. Dragon, pull the gun out.
Shut.
Yeah,
then you're
I
ineffectively
have enough
clearing.
reaction time to shoot him.
You're ineffectively clearing that dead space. Your priority of threat
Well, who
is
else
your.
do I have with me then?
Your priority
Is
of
there-
threat is your armed bad guys, followed by your unarmed guys, because you don't know if they're armed or not.
So do I just shoot him then?
No, you. Have
That's
a
why
buddy
we
that
have the
assists you.
LAPD protocol. Everyone
Okay, you
is
did not-
armed.
Chef, you did not specify at the start.
No,
that I
but
had a
it's
buddy.
not. It doesn't. It's not an argument point. I'm just saying that's your priority of threats. When you enter a room, what threat do you deal with first? Right, you can take those two bad guys out as you enter the room. Right, you got the dead space on your left and the unarmed bad guy. You can back out here. You've got your gun trained on him. You're back in a safe place, but you know that's your next threat. You get him to lay on the floor. You get him to walk backwards with his hands out. He gets out of the room. You handcuff him. You're back in the room. Not exactly, it's not the exact way you'd run it necessarily, but I'm just saying your priority of threat there is your armed guy versus your unarmed guy. Right, then it's your dead space. So this guy hiding behind the door, we didn't know he was there, but he could have been. He also couldn't have been.
If
User
he's,
joined
if
your
he's got a
channel.
gun, he's gonna shoot me as I come through the door.
Yeah, but so could the guy that might not have a gun. There's no point arguing about it, mate. I'm just giving you the facts. I wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily singling you out, Shepard.
Jeff, sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting laughed at.
Hello.
Awesome.
Jeff. I've
Yes?
got one.
User joined your channel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
you
corner
can
where
join.
earlier. Sorry.
Who is it?
I've got one more for you. It's Dagger. Dagger, get down there with them. There's an entryway. You got to go down the stairs.
Well, you can do that.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. I'll heal him.
Hello.
I apologize.
Shepard, no one knew the answer to that. You're fine. Yeah, no one's laughing at
Mitchell.
you, mate. I'm just.
Yes.
Could you get Eli in here as well if once he's in?
Yes. Of course.
Thank you.
No worries.
Right, so those are your three threats in that order: armed threat, unknown threat, dead space. Right, that's when you enter a room. And now let's say you've entered a room with a closed door and an open door. What do you think comes before first? Open door or closed door?
Open door.
Yeah.
Open door first.
Every time, because it's technically dead space, which is your third threat. But an open door doesn't require immediate entry, right? So you deal with that room before you move on. You don't expose yourself to it unless you've got a barrel on it. But that's your like in that order. You clear the room, then you clear the space after that. Hi, Eli.
Hello.
You've missed some
Hello.
bits, but the
Oh,
boys
so
can
I'm
brief you
alright.
later. I can put the notes
I've
in.
already done CQB so many times, I could probably do it on my
Okay.
sleep.
Fine. And then your final priority of work is dead people. Right.
Mhm.
Not a complete threat, but still, dead man's trigger. Maybe they're unconscious.
Mhm.
So what happens if
There you go.
everyone just lines up on this back wall for me?
One more for you.
Thank you. And can I get 2 volunteers?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Cool. One person stand against the back wall. One person stand there. Just here. Right. Let's say this is a long hallway, not necessarily the small room. Who's their equal threat level? They're both armed threats, but who are we going to kill first?
Wind River's closer.
Yeah, exactly. Rule of proximity, right? So if this is a long hallway and Shepard's all the way down the hallway and Wind Reaver's at the next room, he's the one with the better shot. But in theory, he's closer. He can see us better. He's our main target. So and that goes for dead space. That goes for doors. That goes with everything. That's not armed threats necessarily. Rule of proximity. You clear what is closest to you first. You clear that threat. So that's quite simple. That's what happens when you get in a room or in a building, right? Next thing we're going to do is really fun. It's called room structure. We're going to assess every room. Who's excited? Say yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Done this
good.
before.
Yay.
I'm just remain quiet.
This is getting a tickle
Right,
in my pickle.
So, first room. This is technically our first room, right? This is our linear shaped room. So there's not a lot of space to move left and right, but a lot of space to move down. And we'll go through what the structure is on an entry here. But in an ideal world, if there's no doors, we're going to be staggered. So we're going to have an equal amount of people on the left and the right. So we can cover, for example, these cross sections. We've got equal firepower. Remember, violence of action on each side of the room, right? You guys did that, which was really good. Does anyone know what this type of room's called?
A dead end.
No. It's about the
Box.
door. It's about the door, and where the door's positioned in the room. Where is the door in relation to the room?
Inward door?
Inwards.
It's in the center, right?
Inward open?
It's a center-fed room. So basically, we'll go over like how doors open in a minute, but you've got equal amount of dead space on the left and the right. In contrary to this room, which is a corner-fed room, you've got an unequal amount of dead space. You've got more work on the left side than you do on the right. So this is your center-fed room. You can kind of assess this just literally looking at the door. You can see the door is in the middle of the fucking room. You know you're going to need an equal amount of force going left and right. Whereas in this room, you can pretty much clear almost all of that corner from here. Not quite, but a pretty good chunk. It doesn't take a lot of... It's not quite as deep a corner as this, whereas that's way deeper. That's our corner-fed room. Next up, on this one, this is classed as a negative corner-fed room. So, from the outside, you're going to assess that it's a normal corner-fed room because of where the door's positioned. But when you enter it, you've got this big, great long wall here, which is going to completely change the way you're moving through this room. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the boring theory out of the way. Rule of priority of work: kill armed threats, protect the buddies, support your buddy if you're not protecting him, make sure you're ready to, and then look for work after that. You're killing armed threats first, then an unarmed threat is your next priority, then your dead space, then your open doors, followed by your closed doors, and then people that are dead. Okay, now we are going to go through movement. So, we have two types of entries. We have a deliberate entry and an immediate entry. So our deliberate entry is like our combat clearance, right? We're going to take time on that door. We might even have time to be on this door. We might have time to have a little, if I don't
Stack
free
on
look,
both sides.
we might
and
have
all
a
that
little
stuff.
look, come back in. Right, we've cleared there. You know, that's half the room clear. That's our combat clearance, right? That's good. Sort of, when you're not on a time-sensitive scale, so like a hostage rescue, which is when you're going to be using your immediate entry, right? So the two differences there. On your immediate entry, your life does not matter. The thing that matters is the mission, whether that's a HVT or a time-sensitive target like a bomb threat. Whereas your deliberate entry, your life matters more than the mission. That's when we're going to take our time. That's when we're going to clear slow and deliberate. The only thing that might affect your entry if you're not on a time-sensitive target is stuff like the environment, right? So let's say you come into this hallway and then all of a sudden you get a massive threat on that end. You're probably not gonna want to deliberately clear this room. You're gonna want to immediately enter it. So that's kind of the only thing that would change that. If you're on a deliberate entry and the environment changes, you might want to change that tactic, but we'll go over that. Okay, so now we'll actually go to the fun stuff. Show me how you guys stacked up in this hallway against this room, this center-fed room here.
Say again?
Show me how you would stack up against this room. You've just entered here. How are we stacking in? How are we falling in? In fact, I'll get you guys. I'll tell you what. We'll get you guys outside. Why don't we enter? Let's just pretend the doors are open. You don't have to open these doors. You've come from the left side, like you did earlier.
Are open already.
Do you want them closed? If you prefer them closed, that's fine.
I mean, if they're closed, I'd have people on both sides.
You
If we're
can
coming
lock
from
it.
one
Yeah,
side
yeah,
and
yeah,
the door
that's
is
fine, I'll
open,
close them then.
that's the difference.
Just approach this and open this, then move on to this room as you would.
Okay. Stack on both sides.
Alright.
Ready, chef?
Sticking on both.
Ready?
I'm ready when you guys are.
3,
Right.
2, 1, mark.
Right clear.
Contact
Pushing in.
front. Push in. Destructor front. Door right,
left.
door left.
Stack up on left.
Set.
Pretty
Second.
good, right? So one thing here, you guys are single stacked on this room, which we'll go over single stack and double stack, right?
Yep.
I just want people to think about their positioning here. Dragon, when you moved in, you got to this point and you stayed there, not providing a lot of room for the guy behind you.
Swap
maybe,
over to the other side.
yeah, maybe I would have. Well, you could hold here; it's not bad. But then the next guy comes past. I think Arle did that. Came back, held here. The
Yeah.
next guy could follow him. He could double stack on this, right? So we've got a double stack and a single stack. We'll go through this. One
Okay.
thing. Can I just point something out to you, right? Dragon, open this door when you're ready. Bang. Rafe's dead.
Yeah.
Right. So Wraith might want to think his position here. So when you've got this second stack on this side of the room, right, and Arle moves up a bit, you've got another guy here. He can hold that door from here. He doesn't have to be next to the door to hold it, and Egg's got it as well, which is pretty good. So at this point, we're in a single stack. Let's just move it to a double stack. So let's get Wraith on this side, and Egg, if you want to fall in behind Wraith, but keep your weapon to where it was pointed at this door when you get in position. Yeah. There we go. So you got two guys holding left and right. Dragon and Wraith on the entry. Right.
Right clear.
Hold on. I'm going to close this. Right. Someone was talking about which way the door opens. Where's the door handle? Who's got the door handle?
I mean, it's on
Press
the
the
right,
handle, but
so
it's the
Raid
hinges.
would have the door
Right.
handle.
So, yeah, exactly. You've got it. So you've got your strong side and your weak side of the door, Dragon. You don't want to be reaching over and grabbing that door handle. I know it's armor, but it's sort of a point of, who goes first. Since you don't want to be reaching over that door to grab that door handle, Dragon, Wraith's going to do it for you. But
Yep.
because Wraith's breaching, you're going to be the first one moving. Yeah? So you're set
Yep.
on that door. Are you ready to move on that door? If I open that door now, are you ready to move? Crouched?
Wait, am I moving in immediately?
As soon as that door's open, let's count this as an immediate entry, yeah.
Yeah, well, now I'm good.
Cool. So you say set or ready or whatever you want to say.
Set.
Ready? Breathing.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a bit of confusion
Right.
there, right? Let's come back in. Let's come back out. Right, this is a principle. I'm completely going off script now. This is brilliant. Called left, right, left, right. First thing, Dragon, when you've stepped in, we're going to go over this. It's called a center step, right? You step into the middle. You've cleared that middle zone because it's an immediate. You can sort of just go straight into that deep corner, but you did something called a center step, right? So the only thing with the center step is when you're in, you've cleared that middle portion. You're straight back over here.
Yeah.
You don't want to be. Do you know what we call this threshold here, where the door is in the doorway? Does anyone know what the name of it is?
Fatal funnel.
Fatal funnel. Right. We don't want to be stood in here too long. As soon as we've cleared that, we're back in the room. Because if you go down here, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get you out, and it's also going to be a pain in the ass to get people in the room. So we want to be clear of that threshold as soon as possible, and that off that
Right.
fatal funnel, right?
So don't bother with the left-right lean.
Yeah, if you're not going in the room, you're doing limited penetration, which is where you're not putting your muzzle past this threshold because you don't, the last thing you want is someone to see your muzzle and shoot you through the wall. If we're doing a deliberate entry, that door's open, we're clearing this threshold, we're pieing this off, right? Taking a bit of the pie, clearing each way as we go. We've cleared up to there, right? We're coming back into the safe point onto our anchor, and then Wraith might copy the next thing. Or there's another thing which we'll go over called who's in motion stays in motion. So you might get to this point on a deliberate entry, and then you decide to move. But you're not sticking in this doorway for too long, like this. Once that center's clear, you decide to move or fall back in, but you're not getting in that. You're not staying here for too long before you decide to move. So the next point was you guys kind of got confused. I don't know if it's just because you're training. If you could just snap back in there, Dragon. Right, Wraith's open the door for you. You've got a second man, third man, and a fourth man. Right, so Dragon, if you send that Wraith, if you send that door when Dragon's ready.
Ready.
Remember, this is our speed.
Third.
Go on.
Third, fourth, what?
So first man, you're point man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're pace man, second man. Right. So if you guys, we'll take this really slow, Dragon. Right, if you send the door.
Ready. Breaching.
Right, Dragon, you're in. The second he's stepping into that threshold, Rafe, you need to be right behind him.
Yeah.
There you go. You're left, Wind Reaver's right, and then Egg, you're right behind him, taking the next one, right? You guys probably know that, but that's left, right, left, right. The only reason this is kind of an SOP is because the last thing we want, you guys can come out again if you want. The last thing we want, right, is Dragon, saying, yeah, send the door, Rafe, right? Rafe opens the door, and then the second I'm in, and Wind Reaver's following me. We don't want them. There you go. Look. They just both did it just by looking at me, not because they were trying to enter the room. But you don't want, now you've got a point man in the room and two people stuck in the fatal funnel that can't get in the room to support him, right? So the only reason this is an SOP, it basically just dictates the flow of the room, right? So that's flowing into the room, sort of on a split stack, right? So don't get stuck in the fatal funnel. You can do that sentence step that Wind Reaver did, that Dragon did, but just get out of that fatal funnel quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strong side of the door is whoever doesn't open that side of the door. Strong side of the door is whoever doesn't reach over the door. You're second man. You're breaching. Third man's behind point man on a split stack, right? Are you guys staying out here? Because I was going to close these doors quickly. Actually, I don't need to. So the reason we might use a double stack is just for room coverage, right? So when this door's open, even if there was no door there, you've got Wraith on that side, Dragon on this side. You guys have cleared 30% of that room already, right? The only thing you've got to clear is the middle, which we're doing with our center step, and the deep corners of the last point, right? So even on a deliberate entry, right, we can pan that. We've cleared now the middle. The last thing we have to clear is there because we trust that Wraith's cleared on that side. If he wasn't, he'd call shot and he'd shoot. But that's why we'd use a double stack. If we've got the time and the space,
user disconnected
we've
from
got
your channel.
more room coverage, we can see more in. But that's sort of the main disadvantage, right? Is if we don't have the space.
Chef.
Yes.
Asking for basically any door that would be like this. I used to run MG quite a lot. Something I used to do when we're breaching a building, so not inside of the building because MG, but if we were breaching a building, I would just set up in front of the center of the room, just in front of the center of the door, have someone else open it, and then just call out.
Yeah,
clear.
I mean it's good, but then again, you're stood here, right? I mean, you could. Yeah, it's not a bad tactic. It's definitely, you can take that as you will. I'd maybe do it from a safer position. But when you're all out, maybe if you're doing this room here, you've just cleared this room, you could have a guy posted up here. Right, he's got cover. Then this guy could be the guy to say, yeah, send that door open. That door opens, he's got good eyes in that room. Right? And you don't go in that room until that guy drops his weapon and then you see that he's cleared. Okay, so on this room, with these doors open, can we get everybody stacked up ready to enter this room? So point man, pace man, second middlemen, and then rear security. If you guys want to fall in behind.
It's going to be one at a time.
So this is what we call a single stack, right? As you can see, Dragon, when you open that, you've got very limited view into that room, right? Yep. So now the benefit with a double stack is that you can see, yeah, exactly, a lot harder to see, but sometimes you might not have the room to do the double stack. So we'll go into like running the rabbit and stuff. Is you can do that center step, and then you can push into this room here, right? And we'll go through running the rabbit and stuff like that. So if you've got the space to do, because if I close these doors, you guys can either come in or stay out, but I'm closing that door.
User left your channel.
You can have an extra man on this side. If you've got the space for it. Not that you can see much, but... So those are your two entry methods. You've got your split stack or your single stack. A lot of the time, if you're doing an immediate entry, you might not have time for a split stack unless you're really quick and you guys have been practicing and stuff like that. Yeah, the main benefit from a single stack is less sort of exposure, right? If you've got a guy, if you guys are all stacked up on this door, if you've got a guy that comes around this room, let's say it's an open door, and you're trying to do a split stack, he comes around this side. you're sort of giving yourself away. If there's a contact in that room, they see you. Whereas if it's a single stack, you get less exposure here.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that when you're deciding how you're going in. Right, I went over some terms like pieing. Do people know what pieing and panning is?
Buying, yes.
Okay, so pieing, literally,
Yes,
you're taking the slice out of the pie, right?
Yes.
You're taking that slice, we're slow, taking that slice. We're in the middle, we're in the anchor, we're going to come back in. If we're on a double stack, we could have another guy pie his side of the room. Meet in the middle, cool, with pied. A pan is similar, but it's a little bit more of an immediate entry tactic. So if we want to split the stack, right, we've got point man here, and it's an open door, with an open threshold and no door. He might want to pan this room. So he moves as fast as he can process his information. He moves like that. He's set on his side. So it's similar to a pie. You're still cutting out that room, clearing that part of the room with your limited penetration, not putting your gun through the door, but a little bit faster, just so you're not stood in that fatal funnel.
Wait, so a pie is you walk around. You with a pie you push into the room.
No, a pie you can do whatever you want. So a pie, if you stand on this side,
Just where's the difference between buying
Right.
and panning is what I'm asking.
so okay, you come up, you move back a bit. You're second man, I'm point man, right? So you can stack up behind me.
Yep.
I'm gonna pan this room first, right? Actually, no, I'm gonna pie the room first.
Yes.
I'm exposing myself. That's
Mhm.
clear. Taking that bit of the pie clear. That bit of the pie clear. That bit cool. I'm good. I can see that part of the room's clear now.
Uh huh.
I'm back in formation. Now I'm gonna pan the room. Okay.
Okay, so with a buy you go slow and steady, you come back to your original
And a
position.
pan,
with a
you're
pan, you
literally-
go all the way around.
Yeah, basically, you're setting yourself up. You're scanning that part of the room. Cool. I'm good. Let's go.
All right.
And then, as we went over before, the center steps, right? So maybe you don't have time for a pan or a pie, but you still want to clear that middle part of the room. We're going to center step here. If we've got a contact, we call shot. We call where he is in the room, because the last thing we want is someone just walking in, shooting 2 bullets, and then moving, because then the second man doesn't know where he is, right? So we're here, shot, center room, bang bang, into our corner. The reason we're only doing 2 shots, bang bang, moving, we don't want the front man getting stuck here, engaging this contact in the fatal funnel. He goes down again. Now you're fucked, right? So first man's in, 2 shots, center mass into his corner. Second man in. He knows because of the call. Contact center room, bang bang. He's into his corner. Third man center room. Maybe if he's dead, you might double tap him, or you might do that at the end. But you're not keeping your focus on that target. And then another thing is as well, if you guys just move into this room for me. If you guys could just push into that room for me.
Oof. Meow.
One thing we don't want when we're center stepping, right, and you're engaging this contact. So if you notice, when I clear this corner first time, right, without center stepping, I'm in my corner and I'm pushing to the deep corner. I'm clearing that, egg's dead. I'm now in my corner, and look where my position is in the room, right? I'm right up against the wall with my guns forward. Where the one thing we want to avoid when we're center stepping, we center step, we engage this contact, bang, 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 and then we move our corner. But now look where we are. We're here, right? In the middle of the room. So then our second man comes in. Let's say we got another contact where Dragon is, but because you've done that center step and engaged that contact, and you've moved to here rather than where you should be against the back of the wall. My second man can't support me now because he stood in front of the next contact. Does that make sense? So when we're center stepping, the only thing we've got to be careful with, and this applies for like running the rabbit, taking that contact in the middle, bang bang, into your corner. So we're not crossing sort of too far into the room. So those are basically your entry methods. And then your last one is just flowing in, right? Not doing your center step. You just do your left, right, or your single stack. You're all in the room. There's 2 other entry methods to left, right. If we go back outside and we stack up on the outside room, the outside wall, as if we're entering. You guys ever notice that people do when they enter? Sometimes, in fact, it'll be easy to show from here. When they enter, sometimes they go like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's called a button hook, which isn't inherently wrong, right? Your job as the pace man. Basically, the rule is the point man is never wrong, right? If the point man button hooks it, he button hooks it. The second man just goes the other way. He doesn't correct him. He doesn't follow him. If you were planning on flowing in the room, e.g., you're on this side, you're going deep into that corner. If you were planning on that, but he button hooks it, you just do the same. You just copy him. Because the point man's never wrong, and that's your job as a pace man. You copy him, you get the flow of the next person for the next person to follow you in, right? So you've got the two options there of either doing your left, right, or your button hook, right? Kind of a left, right, flowing into the room is a bit more preferable just because you've got the most information on this side of the room already, right? You've got the most situational awareness, which we'll call SA. You've got the most situational awareness on this side of the room. So it's preferable for you to go here. But some things might change it. So like the environment, I know it's a bit boring. So the environment, right? So maybe you saw or you heard a deep threat, like a reload, maybe in that corner. You want to clear that first. So maybe your button hook to clear that work first, stuff like that. But basically, just follow the point, man. If you hear that, you don't have to move in this way. You can button hook it if you have to. So I think now what I'd like is for you guys to demonstrate a center-fed entry from what I've told you. If you need any reminders and stuff, that's fine, because the next bits are more like corner entries and stuff. So we've got our... I'll go back up to my notes. We've got immediate entry and deliberate entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're immediate entry, we might do a sentence step, we might move in, or we might pan. If we're doing a deliberate entry, we could give it a good old pie, come back to our point, say when we're ready. Don't stay in the fatal funnel. Limited penetration. Don't put your gun through the door unless you're ready to go in. You got your pieing, you got your panning, you got your sentence step, and you can move straight in. Button hooks, blow in, do what you want. But I'd like to see that again from you guys.
Hurry.
Oh.
Help. Oh, he's upstairs. He's going
Help.
Oh.
Hit back.
Oh.
Yes. Me.
Let's see. Could I get...
If it's easier, just take it from outside and move in like normal, rather than deciding who goes where in the stack.
Alrighty.
Right. One Varley point, rate, base. Right.
I was trying to hit control C because
I wasn't at the right pace. I'm sorry.
I was trying to hit control C to stop walking.
Do we need a zoo teal?
No, I'm all right.
No, it's only those pushes don't do any damage unless it's.
I did damage to Arle.
Oh, but yeah, it did damage to Arle because you pushed him into Arle. Actually, hold on.
Okay.
How does that work?
I was trying to hit control.
Is everyone good to run this?
Yeah.
Varley, when you're ready.
He's just bruised.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm all right, bud.
Ready?
Well,
All right, let's run. Yep.
Last man's good to
Appreciate
go.
Good luck.
Door right.
Get some flowing.
Dragon, you're about to... Windriver, you're about to die.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Get behind me, and then you can
Behind
search over
Ag.
that side.
Behind Ag.
Set.
There you
You
go.
see how you've still got security on that door?
Yeah.
Right, so Egg's got the strong side. So
Ready to
you
go,
can
Egg?
to Egg when he's ready.
Ready? Popping. Ah, that was slow.
Clear left.
Okay, Egg, only thing for me is you went the same way as the pace man.
We just died right.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
try and just
Yeah.
keep it left, right if you're doing on a split stack. So you can clear that deep corner. Basically, if your point man gets shot in the back as he's moving in, you're about to get
I
shot in
will
the back
probably
as well.
clear that room. They win in
Yeah.
second.
Oh, yeah, I very much trusted you to go the other way because I did not clear
Yeah, no,
anything on
but
that side
In
before I
fairness to
turned.
Windriver, he
Yeah,
adapted
just
well,
like, yeah,
and he
Yeah.
did go the
Somebody
other
will
direction.
Yeah.
or-
I got
we
I got
that-
stuck
we
slightly
try
on
that
you
again, but
dragon,
with the
so
two other guys doing the entry that haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So Wraith and Ale, if you guys can go into the go on entry. And guys, if you want to practice for a couple minutes, changing.
So everyone else just stay away from the door. Let Varley and Wraith do it with just the two of them.
All right. I'm gonna grab a
It's
snack.
nothing but you two and the door.
Yep.
Yep, I'll keep this at the door then.
There you go. Good. Yeah. Perfect. Bang. Yeah. Cool. Let's quickly, whilst we're here, actually, I want to talk about our fucking responsibilities when we're in the room, right? Which is nowhere near where we're at on my to-do list, but it's fine. Right, so let's say we're in the room. Let's say it's a 4-man entry. How many have we got here? 4. Cool. Actually, for now, let's keep it as a 2-man entry. So, Wind Reaver, let's say you're here.
Mhm.
Wraith, you're probably around here. What we're going to do, right? We've both entered the room. We've cleared our deep corners, right? As we've come back round, we've cleared that corner. We're in the middle of the room. The next thing we really want to do... Does my flashlight work at all?
No, it don't work, sadly.
Oh, cool. Is collapse our sector, right? We want to make our next man, make sure he's safe. So, Wind Reaver. We're going to pan round. We're going to pan the rest of the room round to Wind Reaver. We're not going to point our gun at Wind Reaver. We're going to just get to here. We're not going to over-penetrate into the room. Because we remember our speed. We're quicker getting back to the door from where we are, rather than in the back of the room. We're not going to point our gun at Wind Reaver. But we're gonna pan around and make sure he's still up and he's still moving. We're gonna be about a meter off his chest. So we're in. We cleared our deep corner. We're back round. We've anchored to the wall, and we're gonna pan around for him, make sure he's safe. There's another thing as well. We say that our favourite letter of the alphabet is L, not for loser, but for the shape of the room. So Wraith and Ale, if you guys want to stand on this side of the door. What we have here is full coverage of the entire room on an L shape, right? We've got 2 people, probably 3 people. Egg might even be able to take that. We have 3 people on the door here, right?
No.
And even if we had another threshold on this side of the room, there, we've got 2 people plus Egg plus Dragon. To be fair, everyone actually. Maybe other than Dragon, if Wind Reaver's a bit too close or something. So just when you enter a room, we can try and remember how L is our favourite shape. That gives us the best coverage in a room. But yeah, collapse your sectors. So Wraith at this point, he'd be collapsing his sector down to Wind Reaver. Wind Reaver would be collapsing to me. Cool. We've both seen it. Who calls clear?
Point?
Point man. Always point man. Point man calls clear. Every time. Unless he's dead.
As a point man, you go one way, if you spot your base man, you assume room is clear. So as a point man, I go in left, I circle around here, I turn this way, I see my base man, I'm assuming that side is clear if my base man is also collapsing back to me.
If it's a room with no more dead space. You know, if we've got a negative fed room, right?
Yeah.
And your point man stood here because there's a wall on my left side. Let's say it's the door, right? The door extends to here. If I'm stood here, the room's not clear. We've still got all this stuff behind me. But yeah, basically, point man's never wrong.
Yeah, but then as a point, I usually I turn around and see there's a next opening, so continue on.
Yeah.
Even if I'm the second one entering, I usually like to confirm the clear.
Yeah, maybe just repeat it after the point man, but the point man calls clear.
Yeah.
Right? You can acknowledge that you've heard him. You know, if Wind Reaver's first in a situation, he says clear, you can repeat clear, you know. But he calls it, yeah. This is more of an SOP to like reduce confusion. It's the same with like who opens the door and who doesn't. The only reason you have an SOP on who opens a fucking door is so you know who goes in first and you know who goes in second. And then that's where left, right comes in, so you know who follows them, and you don't get stuck in that doorway where you're going to get shot by a Dishka. It's the same with that SOP, right? You don't call clear unless the point man clears it. Just to reduce the confusion, you know that front man always calls clear. Do you guys fancy a quick 5-minute break and getting some drinks? And then maybe a wee?
Yeah, I'm alright.
I've been drinking.
Just been called for dinner, so I'm going to have to sit out for a bit.
Cool. I'm gonna go for a wee and a piss, but if you guys feel like practicing for literally like 2 minutes, that's cool. It's up to you.
I know one thing from knowing CQB when it comes down into going to an area like this, I would more rather clear the first door that we come across before
Yeah.
the second door.
Yeah.
Like first door first, and then that door will be last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like first, second, these people hold.
And again, with
Because the
this
big
kind
problem
of
with
thing,
this door is
I'd
if this
assume-
is like the first position in the stack, we have the exact same problem as the second man being here. So, like, we're better off, in my opinion, we'd be better off panning this door before we breach. Have one guy here for like a second, get coverage on that door. Have 2 guns pointed here, you there. We hit breach. 2 people clear this room. And then as soon as we start getting action in here, that's when we initiate the breach into the other room. Because we can split and then like reform in like a hallway and shit.
I think on the overall flow, I'd have one buddy team stack there, second buddy team stack there, third buddy team would move on and cover hallway, and that's when first
Right.
breach, second breach.
We're gonna go through running the rabbit.
Chef, we have questions.
Go for it.
Breaching in here,
Mhm.
full flow with the entire team. A couple of people said I'd rather do this room first.
Yeah, rule of proximity.
Yeah. So, I would expect my team to set up on this room, set up on the next room, have a third team come in,
Okay.
cover the hallway, and then start breaching.
So one thing I would probably have is I'd have, let's say we've just come through this room.
Yeah.
Remember, dead space before closed doors, but also rule of proximity, right? So we are obviously going to take these doors first. We've got a security here. Ours in a good spot. I'm in a good
I'd say
spot.
first team in would immediately go for
Mate,
this
so
here.
if you flow in with me,
Yes.
if I take point, you guys come
Everyone
out.
out.
Wind Reaver and Arley, do you guys want to follow?
Out.
Give me a second. I'm trying to mess with my keybinds.
Okay, so as I'm flowing in, right, let's say we've just opened the one door. Make it easy.
Yeah.
I'm flowing in. I'm going to move past these doors. I'm expecting, there we go, second man to go right, hopefully with his gun up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move past this door, which you guys have been
Okay.
doing every time. Right. Let's say Wraith is now third man. He's following me, but what he might do is he might just pan that door and then fall in behind me. Right, we call this plating. So if you stand behind me, Wraith, and he stood there, I'm now plated by him. His plates will catch the bullets before they catch me, right?
Okay.
And then these last 2 guys can fall in back there. You guys have done that every time. So your point man, his responsibility is keeping his gun forward, right? So the point man isn't going to get to this door and stop here where no one else can move, or
Okay.
none of that space can be cleared. But then at the same time, he's not going to move to this side of the door with his back turned to something he can't see. So he's going to move past. And this is why you need to know all the roles, because it might be that, you know, yeah, someone's a DMR player, whoever it is, but he might be third man to start with, but as the flow keeps going, he might end up being a point man.
Points.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, now your point man's here, and he's might be still point man when we've finished clearing this area behind us, but he won't be the first one into the room, right? So maybe it's the third man who's got the DMR or the LMG. He then might be the point man. So then on your point with this room, right? Let's ignore this room on the right. What I would do, I'd simply move past the door. I'm here. Second man falls in behind me. Our rear security was, you know, let's say he was pointing his gun outwards as we were moving in. Now he's turned around, he's moved into the room, and now he's here, right? Now he's the point man on this door. And now this guy who was here is rear security, right? And as we flow into this room, so if you guys basically just start moving into that room, and I'll act as rear security. So if you all stack up on Dragon, if you come back out to point man Dragon.
Okay.
You guys stack up behind him.
Yes.
Cool.
Everyone set?
Right, set. Right, you're flowing in, and then just look when you get in the room. Look where I end up.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'm probably not going into the room with my back turned. I might come in like this, make sure you guys are still good, and then turn back around. I'm in a safe place, but I've still got that rear security, and now I'm back to being point man.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys tap me when you're ready. Does that answer any of your questions? Or
Yeah.
Yeah,
bullshit?
no, that's all right. That's good.
Okay. I'll tell you what. We'll go through the first instance of running the rabbit. I think no, it'll be easier to explain it in. It'll be easier to explain it in this corner fed room. Okay. Can I just see how you guys enter this room? There's a 4-man. It only has to be 2 men, really. I'll tell you what. I'll take Wraith and Dragon first, and then Windweaver and Ali after.
Right.
And then, can you guys do this
We are
twice
tailgaters.
each?
Yeah.
So swap point men each time.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, Windweaver and Ali, do you want to come inside with me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready when you guys are.
Keep it closed.
Close to start, I guess.
Yeah, we're close to start then. You ready?
Go ahead.
Region. Moving.
Okay, cool. Same again. Swap point men.
Reaching.
Okay, cool. Swap over. Windweaver and Ali.
All right.
And then, yeah, Dragon over to me.
I think I closed the door. I
Yeah.
closed. Oh, you want
Yeah,
to-
you go. You can go up first. Set. Clear.
Cool. Same again. Swap point men.
Ready?
Ready. Breaching. Right side. Clear.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed. You've all done the same thing. You've all done what's called running the rabbit, right? So some people might think you guys can stay in here. Some people might think that if they're moving into this room, they need to hook round the thing, right?
Mhm.
Which might be an option. Let's say you've got like a sofa or a bed here. You might have to hook. You have to button hook it. But what you guys have all done is called running the rabbit, right? So Dragon, if you come in and you do what I just did, where you don't what we call run the rabbit, I'll come out with you. So you just go straight left, like your button hook in the room. Right, stop there. Right here. Right. You're engaging that contact. Let's move forward a bit so there's enough room for me to get in. You're engaging a contact there, right? I then now have to clear Dragon all the way over here, right? So let's say Dragon, as soon as you see that contact shoot, 4 seconds from him engaging that contact for me. Well, probably actually a bit slower, a bit less seconds because I count it quite quick. As well as the fact that if he stood there getting shot at, I then have to cross in front of those bullets to get into a position to shoot, right? But what you all did is called running the rabbit. So, Dragon, again, if you enter but do what you normally do, where you go far on the wall, shoot when you see him.
Yeah, I mean,
no brainer, right?
I did not shoot immediately. I did not.
You kind of get the idea. That was yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that might stop you from doing that is like a sofa or something. But yeah, running the rabbit is what we call it. So then the same goes out for this corridors, right? If we come back out, what you guys are doing is really good, right? We're here on these. We have a cross coverage, right? In fact, someone else take my spot. We have limited penetration. We have cross coverage. I want you guys to now move in this hallway as if you're ready to move.
It's sure we're going right then.
Ready?
It's Orly, switch, yeah.
Cool.
Pushing.
Right, freeze there. Freeze there. Freeze there. Freeze there. Right, same goes again, Dragon, right?
Yeah.
So if you come back to this corner, Dragon, as if you just cleared it. You guys did the right but you've cleared the corner, right? So you're deep in here.
Switch.
You guys did the right thing. You switched, right? So you switched threats, which is perfect, because if you look behind you, Dragon, and Arle, you look behind you, you are literally covering each other.
Yeah.
Right? Which is perfect. What we don't want is someone moving in
Crossing
front of someone
fire,
else.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing now is when Wind Reaver now has to cross. He has to cross behind you. So if you're engaging, I then have to come past your head again.
So I would, yeah.
You could run the rabbit in this situation as well, exactly. So when you swap this time, Ale, if you do it with me.
Yep, right there.
So we're here, right? One thing I'm going to teach you now is called a barrel wave. So this is like a swapping of priorities, right? So I'm ready now to move. I'm going to put my gun up like this. Arle's going to meet my gun. As soon as we meet, we're swapping and we're taking contact. So we're going to do that, Arle, but instead we're going to run the rabbit. Okay? So we're going to swap and we're going to run the rabbit. Ready?
Ready.
And then hopefully, I didn't see it, but that whole time we had our backs with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah? So now Wind Reaver's ready. Wraith is ready. Hopefully. We're moving on this door. Right, so I might start moving. Wind Reaver would follow. Wraith would follow. And then as the last man comes past, we'll walk past him, we'll go last man. And now at that point, Arle knows exactly. He's already doing it. Fall back in like this. So that's another instance you could run the rabbit. Alternatively, yeah, you could just, swap threats and move the corner. That's running the rabbit, basically. Same goes kind of in this room with that whole barrel swap thing, right? You guys did it, which I really didn't expect you to do. So, Wind Reaver, if you come up here with me, you guys can squeeze in. We're here at this point, right? This is really awkward, isn't it?
Right.
We've both got an equal threat with no rule of proximity. We've both got an open door. Neither one is closer, right? So rather than me moving like that in front of your barrel, do exactly what you do in the hallway. We're gonna meet muzzles. You're ready. I'm ready. Swap. We're in the rooms. So you guys did that actually, which is really impressive. I'll be real. Okay, next one we have is called Angleman Corner Boy. This is quite advanced. And this got... Who did this get killed? This got somebody killed at the start. I think it was you, Arle, if I'm honest.
I don't know, I was running behind Rafe.
So we had... what we had was correct, right? We entered this room. We had a negative corner-shaped room, which we didn't expect. So we've basically got a narrow passage. We've got... Dragon's our second man. He's gone on the left side, as he should, and I'm on the right side. But now we've got this awkward room, right? So Dragon is probably going to... Basically, as I'm pieing/panning this, I'm moving around, right? Clearing that apex here as I move, right? So I'm here. I'm clearing the apex, moving as fast as I can process information. And then what... Arle did at this point, which I'm not sure if it was desync or if it was done on purpose, was you then stepped into that corner right in front of your friend. So at this point,
yeah,
if Dragon then stepped in front of me, and then I got contact, bang, 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 my teammate's dead. Right?
Oh no, I was giving the white bar fight to Chef.
Okay.
I was trying to, yeah.
So what the whole point of Angleman Corner Boy is really simple in that the corner boy is only there to support me if I need to, right? So his focus is on me. So I'm here. I've gone bang, bang, bang. I'm out of ammo. I'm coming back. Now Dragon's in the fight, right? He can come around that corner. He's already there. And the reason why Dragon's not there to support me straight away, Dragon, if you come back, right? You try and clear this, but stay out of my muzzle whilst I'm clearing. So come up to this corner. You're trying to clear this whole sector at the same time that I am, but on that corner, right?
Okay.
So you come around and start clearing, but just stay off my muzzle a bit. Keep coming, keep coming. Right, he stop. You can't see into that corner, can you?
No.
At all. Whereas I can. So even if he's and then just keep moving slowly, as he's moving around, he can't clear what I can see, so he's not actually supporting me in any way. So this is the whole thing with Angleman Corner Boy. He's got the corner, I've got the angle, right? So he's just there to support me. If he tries to move in front, he's either going to get in the way, or he's not actually supporting me in any way, shape, or form. And that goes with the corner fed in this room over here. We can do the same.
Chef.
Yes.
wouldn't that leave you very vulnerable to getting shot from this angle?
Yes, but that door was closed.
Okay.
But in the same situation, right? So let's say we have let's say we have an Angerman corner boy in this situation.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I
So
assume
let's say,
corn-
right.
corner
So
would
what we will do
cover
here,
that, but-
Dragon. Let's say you're here covering the door, right? So move up right up against that wall. If it was an open threshold, first of all, rule of proximity. But second of all, okay, Wraith, you're our corner boy here. I can plate you. We can be moving like this. You're clearing that door. You ready? Keep moving slowly. Hopefully, I've got my back on you, and then we're
Sort
here.
of.
Yeah. There's always times. Basically, the art of CQB, because it's not a rule, it's an art, right? You're gonna get it wrong, and people's not gonna like everything. You wanna sort of give up as much as possible, but sometimes you have to like give stuff up. You have to sacrifice things. So you might have to sacrifice that open door, or you might have to sacrifice, whatever. You're just trying to do it as little as possible, without killing your teammates at the same time. And then same goes for this. We will do some more fun runs in a minute.
Where am I moving?
Got Angerman corner boy. We're in this room, right? So let's come back to the start. Whoever my point man wants to be with me, I don't mind.
Okay.
Wind Reaver's not okay.
Yeah, what's
Wraith.
up?
Cool, good. Let's go. So we're set. We're in. Right, I'm gonna go this way. I'm flowed into the room. Right, you're there. You can You can now go up to this point as a corner boy, right? And it's the same. Now it's the same situation. I'm gonna Angerman that. Bang, bang, bang. I need to fall back. Now Wraith's in the fight. And he's got it. I've reloaded. I'm now back on Wraith. That's another Angerman corner boy, right? We've got an angle and we've got a corner. That's all it is. And that'll apply to stairs. Okay, that's a lot of information in a short amount of time. So I think I've got about 3 more things to tell you, and then we'll do some runs.
Nice.
Right.
So, okay, one thing I've already told you is whose emotion stays in motion, right? So let's say this is an open threshold. We're moving onto this threshold. Right. We're set on a single stack. Let's be imaginary that everyone's stacked behind me at this point. I might want to pan this, but now we don't, because we're at an open threshold, we might not know who's point man or pace man. So Dragon might assume that he's the point man now, because it's an open threshold. No one's got the strong side of the door. But with the rule of who's in motion stays in motion, I've panned that. I'm in motion. I'm moving. Right. Then it gets a bit confusing when you stop. That's just a little rule to help you determine who's point and who's pace.
Assuming there's also different rules for doors opening to the inside or to the outside.
Yeah, that's just hinges, man. Like, look.
Yeah.
I mean, with most rooms, with most rooms you can kind of guess, right? This doors open inwards in most situations.
Just asking because Arma.
Okay, I know. Yeah, you can never.
Give me
tell
a
with
second.
Arma,
My dog's
right?
pawing out the door.
Okay, come over here.
Because with Arma, like you can half expect the door to open upwards.
Right. What can you see on this side of the door?
Shit.
Hey guys, I'll be right back in just a moment.
Okay, so these do have hinges.
These have the hinges. So on most armor models you can.
Hot mic.
Oh. Thank you. And we'll be back shortly.